Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shivananda Sain Tirabha Mahotsav ki, Shri Damodar Goswami Tirabha Mahotsav ki, Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra ki, Shri Gornitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Baram ki, Shri Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Rahadeva ki, Shri Shri Lakshmana Shingadev ki, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, Gaura Prem, oh glorious devotees, oh glorious Shri Guru Rango Dosi, Namo Vishnu Budaya Krishna Sarvatale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namo Namaste, Gaura Vani Pracharine Namaste Shri Pracharine, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome this morning, dear Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. This, you may need a translation And you need a translation?
Jiveshwari also needs translation.
Who else needs a translation? Well, do we have simultaneous, or is it, I stop and someone speak? Which is best?
How is it okay?
I don't mind. I mean, obviously, time it takes longer one way than the other generally, although I'll speak a little faster if you're having...
If you would like, maybe we can do evening also. Because it's
this morning we were only going to deal with Rath Yatra only. And we could this evening, if you so desire, another session with Shivananda saying Fruit Damodar. But that's up to you. You decide what you feel like. I don't worry.
1 hour, I think it's not even 1 hour, 45 minutes is difficult to cover everything.
Well, we usually go a little bit over the top. But whatever you decide, I mean, there's definitely need here for French. Who else needs translation into French? You need translation.
Philip.
Pardon?
Philip.
Donc French translation.
Well, you want to do it.
Okay, you will do that. Okay.
Whatever you decide. Okay. So I will speak slowly. We're going to sit together. Baladeva is translating.
You can do that.
You need a French translation. Someone have to say it in French. They're going to sit there.
Ici, je vais faire une traduction française. Ah, Philippe, you would like that I translate here?
Close to you here.
Okay, we can do it that way. Pardon?
Okay, let's go.
We just come from the Gosha, looking after the cows. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
We have a verse on the board.
Yes,
On a un verset.
Which number?
Numéro.
CC Madhya
14, 13.
14?
13.
Huh?
14 point
14 chapter,
13.
verse number 13.
14, 13, huh?
Yes,
14. With the markers, maybe it's
Do we have the French?
we probably do, but I mean, someone will have to find it. We have the French. There's no purport
Ah,
to this verse. Oh, wait a minute, I don't think there is.
because purport is hard to translate.
Yeah, but if there is a book, it may. The verse is quite long.
Uh-huh.
Not very long, but I mean, longer than usual. So today, being the official day of Rath Yatra,
Alors aujourd'hui, c'est le jour officiel du Ratha Yatra.
and at this moment, in fact,
En fait,
it will be a. What's the time in Puri right now? What's the time?
quelle est l'heure à Puri en ce moment?
Jagannath Puri.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, so I guess the Rath Yatra is in full swing.
Alors ça fait penser qu'il doit être en plein mouvement le Ratha Yatra.
Whoa.
Tout le monde doit danser.
They say about 1 million people normally attend, huh?
Normalement, il y a 1 million de personnes qui y vont.
Almost as many as Paris.
À peu près autant qu'à Paris.
To be compared to
Et Paris, c'est semaine prochaine. Next week.
next Sunday.
Next Sunday,
Yeah.
we have Rath Yatra in Paris. So. Just imagine these scenes in Jagannath Puri right now.
Essayez d'imaginer la scène à Jagannath Puri maintenant.
Lord Baladeva,
Lord
Subhadra,
Subhadra,
and then Lord Jagannath. 3 enormous chariots going down Grand Street, Grand Road, or whatever it is.
3 énormes chariots qui circulent dans la rue.
Hundreds of thousands of people roaring ecstatically, getting the darshan of Lord Jagannath.
Des millions de personnes qui rugissent en extasie les chants de Jagannath.
But actually it's Lord Jagannath giving his darshan.
Et en fait, c'est
To us.
Jagannath qui nous donne son darshan,
He's seeing us.
il nous voit.
So let us try to enter into the mood of this mystical. Well, those who have no understanding, it's a very strange festival.
Alors essayons de rentrer dans cette vue mystique de ce festival.
But very, very imperceptibly, this festival has an imperceptible effect on changing the heart of all those who are fortunate to be connected to this festival.
Alors on aura la grande chance de pouvoir se rendre compte de l'effet perceptible du fait que ça nous nettoie le cœur de tous ces âmes déchues qui seront là à regarder.
And today we'll hear about one such person, amongst many, who was an exceptional person, of course, to begin with, but to see the exceptional effects, we could say, of Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra.
J'ai pas tout bien compris, je pense qu'il parle de ce qu'on va parler aujourd'hui, d'un être exceptionnel qui a eu une foi énorme envers Lord Jagannath.
And today's verse was chanted, sung, by that particular devotee.
Alors le verset d'aujourd'hui a été chanté par ce dévot
Under the guidance of his spiritual master,
sous la guidance de son maître spirituel
who instructed
qui l'avait instruit.
this devotee named, who knows his
Et
name,
qui connaît le nom de ce dévot? Who knows the name of this devotee?
King Prataparudra.
Alors le roi Pataparudra.
He was the king of Orissa and beyond.
Il était le roi d'Arisha et au-dessus.
And he was, as soon as he heard, he never saw, but he heard about the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri, he became mad.
Alors il ne l'a jamais vu, mais dès qu'il a entendu parler de l'apparence de Mahaprabhu, il est devenu fou.
To have the opportunity to associate with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Avoir l'opportunité de s'associer à Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not giving his audience to this king.
Mais Chaitanya Mahaprabhu n'a pas voulu lui offrir une audience.
The king tried everything he could to gain the favor of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Et le roi a fait tout ce qu'il a pu pour pouvoir essayer d'avoir les faveurs de Chaitanya.
He served all the devotees to his best capacity.
Il a servi tous les dévots de son mieux.
He begged them to appeal to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Il leur a mendié, s'il vous plaît, laissez-moi voir Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
But nothing. All to no avail.
Mais rien n'a pu marcher.
And he was literally speaking on the verge of just giving up his body.
Alors, littéralement, il a commencé à penser qu'il allait pouvoir quitter son corps.
Even Ramananda Roy, the eternal personal associate of the Lord, was unable to change the Lord's mind.
Et même Ramananda Roy, qui était quelqu'un de très intime auprès du Seigneur Chaitanya, n'a pas pu lui faire changer d'avis.
But his spiritual guide, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, assured him that don't worry, you will get Lord Chaitanya's mercy.
Mais Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya lui avait assuré qu'un jour il aurait la miséricorde du Seigneur Chaitanya.
So he said, when? How would it be possible?
Mais quand est-ce que ce sera possible?
And on the day of Rath Yatra.
Il lui a dit que ce sera le jour du Ratha Yatra.
And he gave him instructions which are related to this verse.
Et il lui a donné une instruction qui est en relation avec ce verset.
There's when the parade goes, as we heard a little bit yesterday, from the main temple, Sri Kshetra, it's known, when the deities go in their chariots from that temple to the temple of Gundicha, which we heard about yesterday.
Oh là là, j'ai rien compris. I don't understand.
Neither do I.
Quand les chariots ils viennent du temple, là où est Jagannath, jusqu'au temple où on va l'installer à Gundicha.
Ah, donc c'est ça, c'est l'histoire de Jagannath?
Non, ça c'est ce qu'on a parlé hier.
Bon, j'étais pas là, I don't understand.
It's a very long journey.
Yeah, c'est un grand voyage entre des temples.
They go from one temple
On va d'un temple
to another temple.
à un autre temple.
And in between,
Et entre les deux,
many things happen.
beaucoup de choses se passent.
And one of those things, traditionally,
Et quelque chose de particulier,
is that Lord Jagannath stops at a certain place,
Jagannath s'arrête à un endroit particulier,
and now known as Balagandi.
à Balagandi.
And there,
Et là,
Lord Jagannath stops,
Jagannath s'arrête
and everybody
et tout le monde,
who wishes, they bring an offering, foodstuff,
ah,
for
c'est
the
là
Lord.
qu'ils en profitent pour donner leurs offrandes.
And the whole street may be covered with offerings.
Et la rue est complètement couverte d'offrandes.
And at least during Mahaprabhu's time, at least that year, during that event,
Alors, du temps de Mahaprabhu, cette année-là, alors que ça se passait,
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of his associates,
tous les associés de Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
they entered into a local garden,
ils sont rentrés dans un jardin
a
local,
beautiful flower garden,
très beau, fleuri,
many trees,
beaucoup d'arbres.
and they rested there in the garden.
Et ils se reposaient là-bas.
At that point,
À ce moment,
the spiritual master of King Prataparudra
alors le maître spirituel de du roi Prataparudra,
gave him instructions.
il lui a donné une instruction.
Now,
Maintenant,
my dear
mon cher
King Prataparudra,
roi Prataparudra,
you take off your royal dress.
enlève tous tes habits royaux et tes atours.
Because Lord Chaitanya was refusing to see him on the basis, particularly, that he went by the name of a king.
Parce que le Seigneur Chaitanya ne voulait pas le voir parce qu'il était un roi.
And at least at that time, it was not the proper behavior for a sannyasi in the renounced order to associate intimately with a king.
Parce que c'était pas très approprié pour un sannyas de s'associer avec un roi.
Even the Lord knew he was a great devotee.
Même si le roi savait qu'il était un grand dévot.
Still, because of etiquette, public opinion, and so on, he refused to give darshan.
Donc c'est pour ça que Chaitanya, même s'il savait que ce roi était très élevé, il a refusé de lui donner une entrevue.
But the king followed the instruction of his spiritual master and took off his dress. It wasn't that he became naked.
Ah, c'est là que le roi a suivi les instructions de son maître spirituel, il a enlevé tous ses atours. Mais
But
il
in
restait
one
nu.
point it was.
Mais what?
In one way, it could be said he was naked.
Ah, dans un sens, on peut dire qu'il était nu vu qu'il avait enlevé ses atours. Mais
And what we mean by that is that to actually get the darshan of the Lord, we have to be free of all the layers of our false ego.
donc ce qu'on peut comprendre par là, c'est que pour avoir le darshan du Seigneur, il faut se débarrasser de tout notre faux ego.
Free of all false identification, thinking or identifying oneself with his body and mind.
Libéré de toute considération pour ce corps et de cette représentation.
And being completely, you could say, clean in heart.
Et être complètement nettoyé au niveau du cœur.
So in that sense, yes, we have to take off all of these material attachments in the form of various coats. I don't mean this type of coat, but the subtle forms which we're all covered by.
Donc de cette manière, on peut dire qu'on est nu, mais plutôt de manière toutes les conventions, on doit s'en débarrasser.
But in order to facilitate that, sometimes the external coat also has to be adjusted.
Et pour pouvoir aller dans ce sens, parfois les habits extérieurs doivent aussi être débarrassés.
In the case of King Prataparudra, there was no false ego.
Et dans ce cas, le roi Prataparudra n'avait pas de faux ego.
But still, he changed his external dress for, you could say, the purpose of getting his goal in life.
Donc dans ce but, le roi a enlevé tous ses atours pour pouvoir atteindre enfin le but de sa vie.
And Prabhupada describes that we may also sometimes have to change our dress for a particular purpose or goal.
Alors, Prabhupada il disait que souvent il faut faire ce genre de geste, enlever nos habits pour avoir un but plus élevé, quoi.
To facilitate achieving our purpose,
Pour faciliter l'achèvement de nos buts.
adorning this type of dress which I'm wearing.
Donc se débarrasser de ce genre de...
And even one dress like this may sometimes put on civil dress.
Alors même des habits comme ça doivent être portés. Alors, je sais pas bien ce que je dis là.
It's not the external dress exactly, it's the internal dress which is
Ce n'est pas juste les habits extérieurs, c'est aussi les habits intérieurs.
the consciousness.
Une histoire de conscience.
But still, this pastime is going on
Mais voilà, le passe-temps, il se passe comme ça.
to teach one and all.
Pour apprendre de cette expérience.
So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was resting with his associates. The king put on the dress of a mendicant or a simple sadhu.
Donc avec ça, il a pu alors en fait s'habiller avec des habits d'un simple sadhu.
And entered humbly into the garden,
Et il est rentré humblement dans le jardin.
taking permission from the devotees who were there, touching their feet and taking permission from them.
Donc il a pris la permission des dévots en leur touchant les pieds.
That includes Srup Damodar, Shivananda Sain and others.
Et donc Svaru Damodar, Shivananda Sain et d'autres.
And they were very, you could say these two personalities were extremely significant in the Rath Yatra festival.
Et ces deux personnalités étaient très significantes dans le festival du Ratha Yatra.
And he took permission to massage the Lord's legs and lotus feet.
Et il a eu la permission de masser les jambes et les pieds du Seigneur Chaitanya.
He was an expert masseur,
Il était un expert.
and they gave him permission,
Et
or blessings we should say.
ils lui ont donné la miséricorde ou la permission.
Blessings are very important in our spiritual lives.
Donc la miséricorde c'est très important dans la vie spirituelle.
We're not talking of mundane blessings here, we're talking of spiritual blessings.
On ne parle pas de bénédiction mondaine, mais plutôt de bénédiction spirituelle.
Free of our attachments in this world, and we become attached to pure devotion.
Donc on est libéré de toute conception matérielle et on est rempli de dévotion.
So he began to massage the Lord's lotus feet and legs.
Donc il a commencé à masser les jambes et les pieds.
And Sarvabhauma had told him at the same time you should sing what is known as the Gopi Gita.
Et il lui a dit, Sarvabhauma, que pendant qu'il ferait ça, il serait bon qu'il chante le Gopi Gita.
So he began singing these verses.
Alors il a commencé à chanter ces versets-là.
Lord Chaitanya, when he heard this, he was resting, but when he heard this personality singing the Gopi Gita, he awoke.
What is what?
Wake up.
Donc le Seigneur se reposait pendant qu'il se faisait masser, mais aussitôt qu'il a entendu le Gopi Gita chanté par cette
Gopi
personnalité,
Gita
il
was
s'est
the
réveillé.
songs of the gopis in separation of Krishna.
Parce que ce chant, il parle de la séparation des gopis de Krishna.
And particularly Radharani's, you could say, pitiful crying for Krishna in separation.
Et surtout ce mood que Radharani, quand elle pleure de manière pitoyable, la séparation d'avec Krishna.
So he was singing these songs because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Radharani.
On peut dire que cette chanson elle représente bien le mood de Mahaprabhu dans la séparation de
This
Radharani.
whole festival of Rath Yatra is basically speaking based upon this mood of Radharani's feeling of separation from Krishna.
On pourrait dire que tout le festival du Ratha Yatra, c'est vraiment pour s'immerger dans le mood qu'a Radharani quand elle se sent
And
séparée de Krishna.
Krishna again coming back to Vrindavan to fulfill the desires of all the residents of Vrindavan.
Ça représente le fait qu'enfin Krishna retourne à Vrindavan alors que tous les habitants de Vrindavan se languissent de lui.
So at this point where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming to external consciousness, we could say.
Donc dans ce point, Chaitanya Prabhu, il est aussi dans ce mood.
He was feeling ecstasy.
Il se sent en extase.
And incomparably speaking.
Et ça ne peut pas vraiment se comparer.
And he said, please carry on reciting. Carry on reciting.
Et il disait comme ça, s'il te plaît, continue de réciter, continue de chanter.
If only we had this eagerness.
On peut penser qu'il avait vraiment cette volonté d'entendre le chant du Gita.
Tatra lolium.
Le liam, la douceur.
Lolium. You know, lolium
Le
in
désir,
French.
le désir intense.
It's intense greed or eagerness.
Ah là là, très intense.
Intense greed or eagerness to hear.
Et alors, il y a vraiment la volonté d'écouter encore et encore.
Or eagerness for devotional service.
Et aussi d'entendre parler du service.
Much of the time we try to avoid it.
La plupart du temps, on essaye d'éviter.
We're unfortunate creatures.
Parce qu'on est des créatures infortunées.
Finding some excuse
On trouvera bien des excuses.
not to fulfill Krishna's will.
Ne pas faire ce que Krishna
The
voudrait.
reason we're in Maya.
Parce que ça veut dire qu'on est dans Maya.
Krishna is giving us a chance to get out of Maya and we don't take it sometimes.
Et Krishna est pourtant qu'il nous donne la chance de nous en sortir, mais nous ne la prenons pas cette chance.
Our chanting, therefore, is not having an effect.
So, on a beau chanter, en fait, ça n'a pas vraiment d'effet.
Certain, to a certain extent, but we're begging for service. When we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we're actually begging the Lord for devotional service.
Parce qu'en fait, il y a une vibration qui est que quand on chante Hare Krishna, en fait, c'est pour réclamer du service.
Here it is. Here it is. Devotional service.
Et là, il le...
No.
Comment en fait, non.
No, I've got other things to do.
J'ai des trucs à faire.
Well, why are you calling me?
Mais pourquoi vous m'appelez alors?
Why are you asking for service?
Pourquoi demandez-vous du service?
I want to get freed of suffering.
Je veux être libéré de ma souffrance.
I want to fulfill my desires.
Je veux en fait...
I want liberation.
Je veux avoir des bonnes relations.
I want you to give me what I want.
Je veux que tu me donnes ce que j'aime.
No,
Non.
that's not what we're here for.
C'est pas pour ça qu'on est là.
We're here to give Krishna what he wants.
On est là pour donner à Krishna ce qu'il veut.
So King Prataparuta was singing these wonderful prayers of the gopis.
Le roi chantait comme ça les prières de ses gopis.
Prayers, that's not the right word. Outpouring from their hearts, loving outpour from their hearts.
Donc la prière, c'est pas vraiment le mot, c'est quelque chose qui jaillit de leur cœur.
And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being in the mood of the gopis, in the mood of Radharani, was feeling this intensive emotion of Radharani.
Et Chaitanya Mahaprabhu qui est vraiment dans cette
Chanting.
dans ce mood, dans cette humeur, quand les gopis demandaient encore plus.
Then the king, I want to call him a king, not the right term at this point, but Prataparuta sang this verse, which is on the board, so we'll sing it together.
Et alors le roi Prataparudra justement a chanté ce verset qui est sur le tableau là, et nous allons le chanter ensemble.
Is on Tavakatamrita, is that the verse?
Yes.
Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam.
Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam
Kavibiriditam kalmashapaham.
Kavibiriditam kalmashapaham
Shravanamangalam Shrimadatatam.
Shravanamangalam Srimadatam
Bhuvivinantiye Purida Janaha.
Bhuvivinantiye Purida Janaha
Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam.
Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam
Kavibiriditam kamashapaham.
Kavibiriditam kalmasapaham
Shravanamangalam Shrimadatatam.
Shravanamangalam Srimadatam
Bhuvivinantiye Purida Janaha.
Bhuvivinantiye Purida Janaha. Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam Kavibiriditam kalmashapaham
Kavividitam Kamasapaham
Shravanamangalam Srimadatam
Shravanamangalam Srimadatam
Bhuvigranantiye Bhurida Jana
Bhuvinantiye Bhurida Jana
Tavakatamritam tapajivanam
Tavakatamritam Taptajivanam
Kavividitam kalmashapalam
Kavividitam Kamasapaham
Shravanamangalam Srimad Attatam
Shravanamangalam Srimadatam
Bhuvinantiye Bhurida Janam
Bhuvinantiye Bhurida Jana.
Ladies.
Tavakatamritam Taptajivanam Kavividitam Kamasapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvinantiye Bhurida Jana. Tavakatamritam Taptajivanam Kavividitam Kamasapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvinantiye Bhurida Jana.
Okay, I'll say the Sanskrit and you say the French, okay, word for word. You got it?
Oh, no need to say French, we'll say the translation after.
Okay.
That makes more sense.
Tava, your. Katamritam,
Katamritam
the nectar of words.
The nectar of words.
Taptajivanam,
Taptajivanam
life for persons.
Life of person.
Very much aggrieved
Very much aggrieved
in the material world.
in the material world.
Kavibihi,
Kavibihi,
by greatly exalted persons.
by great and exalted person.
Iditam,
Iditam,
described.
described.
Kalmashapaham,
Kalmashapaham,
that which drives away
that which drives away
all kinds of sinful reaction.
all kinds of sinful reactions.
Shavanamangalam,
Shravanamangalam,
giving all spiritual benefit
giving all spiritual benefits.
to anyone who hears.
Anyone who hears
Srimad,
Srimad,
filled with all
filled with all
spiritual power.
spiritual power,
Atatam,
Atatam,
broadcast
broadcast
all over the world.
all over the world.
Movie
Movie
in the material world.
in the material world.
Rinanti,
Renante,
chant and spread.
chant and spread.
Yea,
Yea,
those who
those who
Buridaha,
Buridaha,
most beneficent.
most magnificent.
Janaha,
Janaha,
persons.
persons.
Can you hear? Microphone needed?
Gaurangi Mataji is not here.
Even if she's here, I don't know if she's probably hearing wherever she is.
Can't hear.
Please put the mic on.
Translation.
Translation. Translation.
Français.
France.
This verse was spoken, as we heard, by the gopis you can read it in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Donc ce verset, vous pourriez le lire dans le 10e chant du Srimad Bhagavatam, chanté par les gopis.
And this is the translation. I'll read it first all the way through in English, and then you can read it all the way through in French. Is that okay?
Okay. It's in English, so let's go.
Yeah, but you're going to read it in French, okay? So I'll read it first all the way through.
Allez.
My Lord, the nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those who are always aggrieved in this material world. These narrations are transmitted by exalted personalities, and they eradicate all sinful reactions. Whoever hears these narrations attains all good fortune. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Those who spread the message of Godhead are certainly the most munificent welfare workers. French.
Monseigneur, le nectar des mots qui sortent de ta bouche et la description de tes activités sont la vie et l'âme de ceux qui sont toujours blessés dans ce monde matériel. La narration et la transmission que font ces personnalités exaltées provoque l'éradication de toutes les... Hein?
Des racines.
Des racines. Ah, ok.
You don't have the French now?
Non, non.
Oh, gosh, why
Oui,
not?
alors, donc ça déracine les actions et les réactions de nos péchés. Alors n'importe qui écoute ces narrations, ils vont atteindre la plus grande des fortunes. Alors ces narrations doivent être transportées à travers le monde et elles sont vraiment remplies d'un pouvoir spirituel. Tous ceux qui distribuent ce message de l'amour de Dieu sont certainement les êtres les plus miséricordieux et les meilleurs amis. Et ils font un travail formidable. Que Dieu me pardonne.
We used to have a full set of Chaitanya Charitamrita in French in the library. It's not there anymore?
Probably, yes.
Because we're going to be reciting a few other verses too.
Oh my God.
Gopaswami probably shouldn't have to do that. This is chapter 14.
Volume 5
We
de
used to
Madhya.
have, yeah, in the bibliothèque.
Thank you, Goswami, for this. I'm so sorry.
I thought you had the French, but they didn't mind. I don't. I'm sorry you have to go through that. It's very hard. I'm trying to speak a little simple. It's not always easy. But the verses we can't change.
Yeah, that's true. This is some poetic, some things.
It is hard for, if you're not used to it, to translate it on the spot.
Yeah.
You've got to know the whole verse practically before you can start, in one sense.
Yeah, I feel shame a little bit. Huh?
Anyway, you're doing great. I don't know if you're doing great. No one said anything yet.
Nobody complains so much. I saw some
No one's understood a word so far. I hope so. I hope they've all understood everything. So, I'm going to go back. This verse was spoken. And what was the reaction of Lord Chaitanya?
Alors, quelle a été la réaction du Seigneur Chaitanya?
And as soon as the king recited this verse,
Alors, aussitôt qu'il l'a récité,
Lord Chaitanya got up.
le Seigneur Chaitanya s'est levé.
He rose in ecstatic love.
Il s'est dressé dans
And he embraced the king.
une humeur extatique et il a embrassé le roi.
He may have known, but he didn't know in this mood. He didn't know who this person is.
Il ne savait pas qui était cette personne,
But he's my greatest friend.
mais c'était son ami le plus cher.
Lord Chaitanya said, "You have given me invaluable gems.
Waouh, le Seigneur lui a dit, tu m'as donné les joyaux les plus chers.
The most valuable thing that anyone could ever give me, you've given me.
La plus
I never asked you.
La chose la plus
Where did you
valeureuse
come
de ce
from?
monde, tu me l'as offert.
You've come here and you've given me this most valuable gift.
Mais d'où viens-tu? Tu viens ici et tu m'offres ce joyau merveilleux.
I've got nothing to give you in return.
Mais je n'ai rien à te rembourser pour ça.
All I can do," he said, "is embrace you.
Tout ce que je peux faire, c'est de t'embrasser.
I have nothing to give."
Je n'ai rien à donner.
And after saying that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself began to recite this very verse again and again.
Et une fois qu'il a dit ça, il a commencé lui aussi à réciter ce verset encore et encore.
And both Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the king were trembling, and tears were flowing from their eyes.
Et les deux, Chaitanya Prabhu et ce roi, commençaient alors à trembler, à rentrer en extase, et les larmes coulaient à flot de leurs yeux. Ah, pas mal.
Lord Chaitanya said, "You are the most munificent. You are the most munificent."
Et alors le Seigneur Chaitanya a dit, tu es le plus merveilleux, tu es le plus merveilleux. Ah, miséricordieux.
And here's a secret here is now given. This is verse 15.
14, 15.
Mm.
Alors, le verset 15.
And I'm just summarizing a little bit, but you can get the idea. Huh?
Alors il va le résumer.
Lord Chaitanya's mercy was aroused because of the previous service of the king.
Donc le Seigneur Chaitanya, l'amour du Seigneur Chaitanya s'est développé parce que il a été ému par le service de ce roi.
And he didn't even care what the king's past was in terms of who he was.
Et il ne se demandait même pas qui était ce monsieur et d'où il venait, quel était son passé.
He accepted the love of the king, the selfless love.
Il a accepté l'amour que le roi offrait tel qu'elle était.
And then we're bumped forward to text 17.
Alors on en arrive au verset 17.
Who are you, he says. Who are you?
Et il a fini par lui demander, qui es-tu?
You suddenly appeared here.
Et tu as apparu soudainement.
And you're making me drink the nectar of Krishna's pastime.
Et tu es venu m'abreuver du nectar des passe-temps de Krishna.
And the king said, My lord,
Mon Seigneur,
I am the most obedient servant of your servants.
je suis le plus dévoué des serviteurs de tes serviteurs.
This is
Obéissant.
number
Yep.
18.
Amen.
This is the goal of our life, to become the servant of the servant's servant.
Donc c'est vraiment mon plus grand souhait que tu m'acceptes
Servant,
comme le serviteur du
servant,
serviteur du serviteur du
Gopi,
serviteur.
Bhakti, Padakama, Dasa, 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 Anudasa. It is my ambition, he said, the king said, it is my ambition that you will accept me as the servant of your servant.
Donc c'est mon seul espoir que tu puisses m'accepter comme tel.
I will go forward. We'll go now back to the pastime.
Alors,
This is the, you could say, one of the special drops of mercy which are revealed during this Rath Yatra festival.
donc on va revenir au passe-temps du Ratha Yatra et c'est une des gouttes de nectar les plus évidentes de tout ce
And how significant this festival is for every living entity.
et qui montre à quel point ce festival est très
As you can see
significant
from today's
pour
verse,
toutes les entités vivantes.
there are words there, Buridaha,
Donc dans ce verset, le mot est Buridaha,
most beneficent, one who assists in Radharani's mission is the most merciful, most fortunate person.
Alors on peut comprendre que celui qui assiste Radharani dans la mission exposée est vraiment la personne la plus
Her
fortunée.
mission is to bring everyone, we use the word back, but to bring everyone into their constitutional nature, to bring pleasure to Krishna.
Et donc la mission de Radharani est que tout le monde puisse enfin réaliser sa nature constitutionnelle de plaire à Krishna.
And this is the purpose of this Sankirtan movement,
Et c'est vraiment le but de ce mouvement du Sankirtan.
because to please Radharani,
Parce que plaire à Radharani
who wants to increase Krishna's pleasure,
a tendance à augmenter le plaisir de Krishna.
so the more the merrier, we could say,
De more,
the merrier.
the merrier.
How to say that in French, I don't know.
Ah, plus on est, mieux c'est. Plus il y a de fou, plus on
English
rit.
saying. So, the more chanting, the more hearing, the more devotees who are bringing pleasure to Krishna, the happier Radharani is.
Donc le plus on chantera, le plus on fera du service et le plus Radharani sera satisfaite. Et donc,
So this verse gives, you could say, you could analyze each and every word, but this verse is the kind of the epitome, is a word you probably don't know, the essence of this Sankirtan movement.
donc on pourra dire que ce verset est une des essences de ce mouvement de
But our
Sankirtan.
time is short,
Et
and
le temps est
we're
court.
going to go back now to the Rath Yatra
On
festival.
va reparler du Ratha Yatra.
And we could read the whole section. It will take about an hour, but we won't do that.
Alors on pourrait lire, mais ça va prendre une heure, on va pas faire ça.
Briefly summarize.
On va
We left off yesterday with the cleansing of the Gundicha temple.
Alors hier, on avait parlé du Gundicha Temple.
So then the devotees, Lord Chaitanya and the devotees took rest for the night.
Alors les dévots avaient pris repos pour la nuit.
This is before the Rath Yatra
C'était avant
festival.
le festival.
So the king had ordered all of his servants to provide Lord Chaitanya and his followers with everything they wanted and agreed to anything they wanted.
Donc le roi avait organisé toutes les facilités pour satisfaire les dévots.
He ordered that they should have the best facilities in the whole of Puri
Et il voulait une grande qualité dans tout.
and have servants to help them
Il fallait qu'il y ait des serviteurs pour
and to have the best prasad.
et le meilleur parsat.
And on the day of Rath Yatra, the king had ordered them to give Lord Chaitanya's associates the permission to enter into the temple of Jagannath, and of course they were going in, but this is a special occasion
Donc là, les gens avaient même l'autorisation de rentrer dans le temple du Jagannath.
because Lord Jagannath had not been giving darshan, you could say, for 2 weeks.
Alors il se trouve qu'avant le Ratha Yatra, le Seigneur Jagannath ne donne pas son darshan pendant 2 semaines.
In Paris, he's a little more merciful, it's only 1 week in Paris.
À Paris, c'est un peu mieux, il ne s'en va qu'une semaine.
After his Snana Yatra festival,
Après le Snana Yatra festival,
Lord Jagannath, he retires. He retires to a secluded or a room within the Jagannath temple, and he doesn't give darshan to the public.
donc après ce festival, alors il se retire pendant 1 semaine ou 2 selon les temples et il ne donne plus son
And
darshan.
externally, his body is being repainted or renovated, etc.
Donc extérieurement, son corps est repeint et nettoyé, etc.
Externally, he appears to have a cold. Sometimes it's said.
Et on dit que parfois, en fait, il a un petit rhume, alors on le met.
Internally, it's another pastime of the Lord, relishing very intimate pastimes with his eternal consort.
Donc en fait, intérieurement, c'est parce que le Seigneur intimement partage des moments précieux avec ses...
So on the morning of Rath Yatra, he comes out of that seclusion.
Et donc le matin du Ratha Yatra, il sort de son retraite.
A special ceremony which is generally only performed by his priest, called Pandu Vijaya.
Donc ça, c'est une cérémonie qui est seulement performée
Public
par
don't
le
see it,
petit
it's
prêtre.
not
les
seen
prêtres.
by the public. In bringing him back out of the temple, inviting him to come to his chariots and so on like this.
Donc c'est comme ça qu'il invite tout le monde à venir voir.
Special prayers are offered and offerings of various kinds.
Des prières spéciales sont offertes et on offre aussi
So
différents...
the king had ordered the priests, the superintendent of the temple, allow Lord Chaitanya and all of his associates to enter in and witness this festival if they want.
Donc là, ce jour-là, c'est spécial. Tout le monde a le droit de venir voir
Sure.
ce qui se passe comme adoration. de
They
Jagannath.
went into the temple,
Ils rentrent dans le temple,
into this special room.
dans cette chambre
And then Lord
spéciale.
Jagannath, after that, along with his brother Balaram and his consort Subhadra, then exit the temple towards their chariot.
Donc à ce moment-là, Jagannath, Baladeva et Subhadra sortent du temple et rentrent dans leur char.
During this period of seclusion, or after the Snana Yatra, is called Anavasara,
Alors pendant ce temps de retraite où on ne voit plus,
the Lord is cared for by some very special servants.
donc le Seigneur est attentionné envers certains de ses
They're
serviteurs.
called Daitas.
Ça s'appelle Daitas.
Daitas are, they get very, that means really one who's received the special mercy of the Lord.
Cela, ça veut dire qu'ils vont recevoir une
They're
spéciale.
not from very elevated families.
Ils ne sont pas forcément d'une famille élevée.
They're very great devotees, but their birth is not considered to be. Only during this period of 2 weeks are they allowed to worship the Lord.
Même s'ils sont de basse naissance, pendant ces 2 semaines, ils sont autorisés à honorer le Seigneur.
A special arrangement of the Lord Jagannath, you could say.
C'est un arrangement spécial du Seigneur Jagannath.
They're said to be descendants of what are known as the Shabras. The Shabras are a race of pig herders.
Donc, ils sont des descendants des Chavras qui seraient des mangeurs de porc.
Yeah, so you can understand that you can say their caste is not considered very high.
Donc on peut dire que leur caste n'est pas considérée très élevée.
Because originally,
Parce qu'originellement,
and we're going back a long way here,
on va remonter en arrière,
goodness knows how long, but a long way. Lord Jagannath, in his previous form known as Nila Madhava,
alors Lord Jagannath qui s'appelait avant Nila Madhava.
Nila Madhava,
Nila Madhava.
famous name, Nila Madhava, the form of Krishna. This form of Krishna was worshipped by the head, his name was Vishwavasu. He was the head of the pig herders.
Alors cette forme de Krishna avant, elle était adorée par le maître des mangeurs de porc.
A long story in of itself, but basically speaking, the Lord disappeared at one point of time. That form of Nila Madhava disappeared.
En fait, c'est une longue histoire, mais au bout d'un moment, la forme de Nila Madhava a disparu.
And he reappeared as a log of wood
Et il est réapparu en forme de grande bûche de bois
on the shore of the ocean at Jagannath Puri.
sur, sur la
On
plage
the shore of the
de
ocean.
l'océan de Jagannath Puri.
And it's a long story, but no one could move that log
Mais c'est une longue histoire, mais en fait, personne n'arrivait à bouger ce grand tronc d'arbre.
until one burly, he's a very strong person, appeared on the scene, picked the log up as if it was a little flower.
Jusqu'à ce qu'un homme très fort arrive sur le bord de la plage et transporte ce tronc comme si on pouvait transporter une petite fleur.
A reappearance of Vishwavasu.
Et c'est en fait la réapparence de
So
Viva.
since that day, the deities of Jagannath have been given this, or the descendants of Vishwavasu have been given this privilege to worship the Lord during this period.
Ah, bon, c'était par rapport à des vies passées, en fait, celui-là, il avait eu l'occasion de pouvoir enfin s'occuper du Jagannath.
So they carry their very strong, so they bring the Lord out to his chariots. They bring the Lord out to his chariots.
Donc, ah oui, voilà. Donc finalement, ils sortent le Seigneur du temple et ils l'amènent jusqu'au chariot.
And the way they do it is very special also.
Et ça, la façon dont il le fait, c'est aussi très spécial.
In Puri, Lord Jagannath is quite weighty.
En fait, à Puri, le Seigneur Jagannath est très lourd.
Of course, he's unlimited in weight in one sense, but he appears to be very weighty from our perspective.
En fait, par rapport à ce qu'on lui, on peut soulever, il nous apparaît très lourd.
And it takes many men to carry each deity.
Alors, ça prend beaucoup d'hommes pour porter chacune des déités.
And they have a line from the temple to the cart of cotton pillows.
Ah, bon. Donc, ils ont fait une espèce de route remplie de coton pour pouvoir transporter
Yeah.
les déités.
They're called tulis.
Ça s'appelle Toulis.
And they're like, soft. And they pick the Lord up and they kind of, not exactly bounce him, but they move him bump to the next one, then bump to the next one like that. Because he's very heavy. Yeah.
Il saute comme ça de coton, de coussin en coussin. Le Seigneur est très lourd.
And they hold him with silk ropes, strong silk ropes. They pick him up and they tie these ropes around the deities. Boom, boom, boom.
Il le transporte petit à petit comme ça avec des grandes cordes.
And
qui
sometimes
l'attachent
the ropes break,
et des fois la corde elle
and
casse.
sometimes the pillows
Et
break.
des fois même le coussin casse.
Cotton flies up in the air.
Et les coussins s'envolent. Les
Boom,
cotons
bang,
s'envolent.
the pillow goes.
Boom, bang.
And then again, that's it. Anyway, it's a whole pastime going on here.
Allez, rien que ça déjà, tous les dévots sont extase.
As they're moving the Lord one by one towards his chariot.
Et quand on fait déplacer les
Meanwhile,
seigneurs un par un, jusqu'au
Lord
chariot,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
pendant
is
ce temps-là,
witnessing this ecstatic journey of the Lord.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu était témoin de ce formidable voyage du Seigneur.
He's not exactly being carried, but it appears that he's being kind of carried to his chariot. He does it himself, it's his own pastime.
Donc ça lui paraît pas qu'on le porte, on dirait que le Seigneur se déplace lui-même.
But he accepts this service of his devotees.
Mais en fait, le Seigneur accepte le service de ses
The
dévots.
Lord Chaitanya is chanting, Manima, Manima, Manima.
So, le Seigneur Chaitanya, il chantait ça.
That doesn't mean he wants his mother to give him money.
Ah, il ne demandait pas d'argent à sa mère. Money, maman, de l'argent, money.
In Korean, it means the greatest, greatest personality, oh, greatest personality.
En fait, ça veut dire, oh, le plus grand des hommes, oh, le plus grand des personnalités.
So this is going on. Others are chanting, Jai Jagannath!
Et
Roaring.
ça-
The crowd is roaring as the Lord comes out of his temple.
et la foule rugit comme ça, Lord Jagannath, complètement.
Whatever.
Ça-
Everything creates another reason to increase the roar of joy or ecstasy of the devotees.
Et chaque fois, augmenter le rugissement de tous les dévots.
And before the Lord,
Et devant le
those
Seigneur,
can be moved like this.
quand il bougeait,
Before that, the king is there,
et devant, le roi était là.
traditional.
Traditionnellement, le roi est là.
And what's he doing? With a golden broom, golden-handled broom.
Donc avec un balai en or,
He's sweeping the floor before Lord Jagannath,
il lavait le sol devant le Seigneur Jagannath,
thinking, how fortunate am I to get this opportunity.
en pensant qu'il était vraiment si fortuné d'avoir l'opportunité de faire ça.
Sprinkling very, very beautiful sandalwood scented water all over the road.
Et aussi, comme ça, il dispensait de l'eau qui sentait très bon tout le long de la route.
Even though in the most wretched, fallen of the lowest, I got this opportunity of service.
Et même en pensant, je suis le plus déchu de tous les hommes, mais j'ai quand même cette opportunité, c'est incroyable.
And then eventually Lord Jagannath mounts his chariot.
Et donc, au bout d'un moment, le Seigneur Jagannath il monte dans son chariot.
And this pastime was noted by Lord Chaitanya.
Et ça, c'est encore noté par le Seigneur Chaitanya.
Not just that he was sweeping the road,
Et c'est pas seulement qu'il brossait le sol, et
but
qu'il
Lord
nettoyait,
Chaitanya was seeing his heart.
mais le Seigneur Chaitanya a vu le cœur de ce
We
roi.
may sweep the road and think, look at me.
On pourrait nettoyer le sol et dire,
Look at me.
regardez-moi,
I've got the privilege to sweep the road.
j'ai le privilège
You haven't.
de nettoyer
I'm
le sol,
very special.
et tu n'as pas ce privilège, je suis très
We may
spécial.
sometimes think like that.
On pourrait se
Which
penser
is,
comme ça.
see how humble I am.
Regardez comme je suis humble,
Even though I'm the temple president,
alors que je suis
I'm sweeping the floor.
le président du temple, je nettoie le sol quand même.
Or whatever. We may pride.
On peut dire que voilà, ça serait une fierté.
Gay Pride Day.
Moi, je peux pas traduire ça.
They've given it exactly the right name for it. So much pride, I can't believe it.
On peut voir qu'il y a tellement de fierté autour de nous.
And then they make it clear.
Ah, ça, c'est
At
même
least
assez
that much
clair.
is clear. Everything else is just get into it, but whatever it is. And there's so much. Our whole life is focused around pride,
Notre vie entière est focus sur notre propre
bodily
fierté,
identification,
notre conception
wanting to
corporelle.
get respect from others.
On
as
veut
we
du
heard
respect
yesterday.
pour nous,
Recognition.
on veut de la reconnaissance.
Me in the center.
Moi au centre,
We're still babies.
on ne reste des bébés, des enfants.
But King Prataparuda did not have that mood.
Mais alors le roi n'était pas dans cette humeur-là.
And Lord Chaitanya could see his heart.
Et lui, il pouvait voir à l'intérieur de son cœur le Seigneur.
So Lord Chaitanya decided there and then he would give his mercy to the king.
Alors à ce moment-là, il a vraiment décidé de donner sa
Just a
miséricorde à ce
little
roi.
time only.
Juste un petit peu de temps.
So the Rath Yatra parade began,
Alors la prière du Ratha-Yatra commence comme ça.
and hundreds of thousands of people were there.
Des millions de personnes étaient là.
And the chariot is pulled by Gaudas. They're called Gaudas. It's the name of these devotees who pull the chariot.
So, alors le char est tiré par ces godas.
Others get the chance too, but they're the main pullers.
Les autres ont l'occasion aussi de tirer, mais ceux-là sont vraiment les gens qui tirent.
They're very strong.
Ils sont très forts, et ils ont ce rôle, quoi, ils ont ce service.
And anyway, Lord Jagannath ultimately is making everything happen.
Donc le Seigneur Jagannath a fait tout ça, que ça puisse se passer.
And sometimes the chariot stops.
Et des fois, le chariot s'arrête.
And even the king brings elephants, they still can't move the
Et
chariot.
même quand on amène des éléphants pour le tirer, ce chariot ne bouge pas.
It's his own will.
Parce que c'est la volonté
The
du
chariot
Seigneur
moves
Jagannath.
or not. He may want to stop somewhere and have a look around.
Des fois, il aime bien s'arrêter et
Oh, there's a
regarder.
nice garden over there, let me have a
Oh,
look.
regardez ce joli jardin par là. Ah,
There are my devotees over there. Let me watch them for a while.
il regarde ses dévots, à droite à gauche.
So Lord Jagannath may not appear to do that. The police don't let us do that very often in Paris.
Bien.
It always says, move along, move along.
Donc le Seigneur, il aime bien faire ça, mais à Paris, c'est un peu difficile, les policiers sont là.
They
pour
tried
faire
to do that in London.
Ils ont essayé à Londres.
I don't know if anyone was there in 1973. We were there in Paris, in London rather, 1973 at the Rath Yatra.
Si vous aviez été au Rath Yatra de 73 à Londres,
And at that festival, the chariot was regularly stopping.
et le chariot s'arrêtait souvent.
Not because of, well, it was because of Lord Jagannath entirely.
Parce que c'était la volonté de Jagannath.
Because Prabhupada was dancing the whole way from Marble Arch to Trafalgar Square.
Parce que Prabhupada dansait tout le long du chemin.
And when Prabhupada was dancing, the devotees all gathered around and the chariot stopped.
Et comme Prabhupada dansait, tous les dévots se rassemblaient autour de lui et le chariot
The
s'arrêtait.
crowd was just spilling over the whole road, both sides of the road.
Et la foule se bousculait de
There was a
deux
huge
côtés.
traffic jam,
Et la route était...
and the police were
bloquée.
freaking out.
Et la police flippait.
And they would come up to Sruti Kirti Prabhupada's servant and say, "Tell the old man to stop dancing."
Alors ils étaient allés voir un des dévots pour lui demander d'arrêter. Arrêtez votre
What you do, you know?
maître. Dites-lui d'arrêter de
You
danser.
go up to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, they want you to stop dancing.
Alors ils allaient voir Prabhupada, ils veulent vous...
Prabhupada look at him as if he was, you know, came from a foreign planet or something.
Alors il le regardait en disant, il avait l'air de venir d'une autre planète.
He just danced even more.
Il dansait encore
Nothing
plus.
they could do
Il n'y a rien qu'on puisse faire pour l'arrêter.
like that. It was a pastime between Srila Prabhupada and Lord Jagannath.
C'était un passe-temps qu'il y avait entre Prabhupada et Jagannath.
In the Rath Yatra, when Lord Chaitanya was there, this pastime between Lord Chaitanya and the mood of Radharani and Jagannath as Krishna was going on.
C'était un peu comme ça que le mood que partageait le Seigneur Chaitanya avec Radharani et Jagannath.
Lord Jagannath would stop. He wouldn't allow them, pull as you will, you're not going to move me. I'm going to stop here and watch the Lord, watch my beloved dance.
Donc c'est pour ça que le Seigneur Jagannath, il aimait s'arrêter. Quoi que tu fasses, tu ne pouvais pas le faire bouger puisqu'il aimait regarder ses dévots danser.
Unfortunately, time has expired.
Alors là, c'est triste, le
Oh
temps est
là
fini
là.
maintenant.
And Rath Yatra hasn't finished. Well, this sometimes happens actually.
Mais bon,
The cart doesn't move even on the day. They have to carry the next day. It stays overnight sometimes.
ouais, ça arrive encore. Des fois, le char s'arrête et on doit faire bouger le char que le lendemain.
That's another
C'est pas
story.
possible de le faire bouger. C'est d'autres histoires.
As you may know, in the first Rath Yatra, I'll just finish on this funny note.
Donc,
We'll carry on
une
tonight.
note drôle.
We'll carry on tonight. But in London in 1969, first Rath Yatra in London,
En 69 à Londres, le premier Rath Yatra.
the Rath Yatra started in San Francisco in 67.
En 67 à San Francisco,
London
c'était le
started in
premier.
69.
Mais là, c'était à Londres, 69.
You may have heard this before, but the first Rath Yatra, they were very excited. They built a nice chariot for the Lord Jagannath.
Donc à ce moment-là, tout le monde était très excité. Ils avaient fabriqué un magnifique chariot pour le Seigneur Jagannath.
And the first leg of the procession then was along a road called Pall Mall.
Wow. Les premières
Pall
jambes.
Mall. A road called Pall Mall.
Ah, la première partie du trajet s'appelait pêle-mêle.
It's a big road, and it's a main artery, we call, in the center of London.
Donc c'est une grande rue,
Traffic, north-south traffic, all goes through this road, you know.
voilà, qui prend beaucoup de trafic à Londres et elle est
So they don't let us go there anymore. Because
Ah, maintenant on ne le fait plus dans cette rue.
this is one of the reasons
C'était
why.
une des raisons pourquoi.
Because on the first Rath Yatra,
Dans ce premier Rath Yatra,
they want you to move very fast
ils
on that
voulaient que
road.
ça
Traffic is.
roule très vite sur cette route-là pour que le
But
trafic puisse
after
reprendre.
about 50 meters on the parade,
Alors pendant 50 mètres sur
it
cette
is
parade,
1969,
c'était en 69,
Prabhupada wasn't there physically.
il n'était pas là physiquement.
But the chariot collapsed.
Et le chariot en fait s'est
The
écroulé.
wheels fell off.
Oh my god, les roues se sont cassées sous lui.
And the chariot was just stuck there on the road.
Et là le chariot était coincé sur cette route.
Nothing they could do.
Et personne ne pouvait faire quoi que ce soit.
And they had to take the deities, they had to carry the deities
Et alors les
from
dévots,
there to Trafalgar Square
ils avaient eu à porter les
and
déités
leave the chariot there.
jusqu'à Trafalgar Square et laisser le
It
chariot là-bas.
created the biggest traffic jam in London's history.
Ça a créé le plus grand embouteillage à Londres de toute l'histoire. Jagannath, il sait comment ça met.
what to do. But in 1973, we'll just finish that little 73 pastime. I don't know if I've marked it or not. But Prabhupada actually talks about it right here in the purport somewhere.
Alors, Prabhupada, il en parle dans un des propos quelque part.
Let's see. Everyone, okay, this is text 19 on page, oh, it's not page, but it's chapter 13.
I'm
Text.
not sure I have it.
Text chapter 13. Oh, okay. Books are not in the same order. Anyway, you'll have to, it's too late to get the other one.
Yes.
Prabhupada writes here, everyone was astonished to see the decoration of the Rath car.
Tout le monde était vraiment émerveillé de voir les décorations du Ratha Yatra.
The car appeared to be newly made of gold,
Alors le char, il apparaissait
and it was as high as Mount Sumeru.
tout neuf, fait d'or qui vient du
How high is Mount
du mont
Sumeru?
Sumeru. Et de quelle hauteur est le mont Sumeru?
It's described in the fifth canto of
C'est
Bhagavatam.
écrit dans le 5e chant. Personne ne se rappelle.
Many miles high.
Alors, combien de miles?
16 yojanas?
16 yoganas.
Yeah, 16.
Yojanas.
You know what a yojana is, don't you?
Yeah.
That's if it's 16 yojanas, that's 16 times 8. That's over 100 miles high. Well, we can't imagine a chariot of Lord Jagannath, but it appeared to be like that. So,
Donc il apparaissait aussi haut que le mont Meru. Ça fait dire beaucoup de kilomètres.
what we see is only like the tip of the chariot it goes. Purport.
Propos.
In the year 1973, there was a gorgeous Rath Yatra festival in London, England, and the car was brought to Trafalgar Square.
Donc il y avait un grand Ratha Yatra 73 à Londres et le char était transporté jusqu'à Trafalgar Square.
The London daily newspaper, The Guardian, published a front page photo caption.
Et donc le Guardian avait publié une première page avec la
Yes,
photo.
it was on the front page of the London. No, it's not a London newspaper; it's a national one.
C'est un journal national avec la première page du Ratha Yatra.
ISKCON Rath Yatra is rival to the Nelson column in Trafalgar Square.
Et ça titrait que le Ratha Yatra d'ISKCON rivalisait la colonne de Nelson
This is a little sore point for French people.
au Square Trafalgar.
The Lord Nelson was the admiral of the British Navy, which defeated the French Navy.
Ah, donc le général Nelson, il avait réussi à gagner les Français sur la bataille de la mer.
He's the very tallest column, you know. And there's
C'est la
a
plus grande
statue of him
colonne
on top.
avec la statue de
And he's
Nelson.
looking south towards France.
Et regardez vers le sud, vers la France.
And Prabhupada talks about how the pigeons are just pooing on him all day and night.
Et maintenant, le pauvre homme, il a des pigeons
Covered in
qui
pigeon.
défèquent dessus jour et nuit.
But anyway, you can see the column from a long way. It's a tall column. So
Et on voit ça de très loin.
Prabhupada said the Rath Yatra car is a rival to Nelson's column.
Et alors, on peut apprendre que le car du
He took
Ratha
a picture.
Yatra, il défiait le général Nelson.
Very good picture. The photographer was on the ground and he took a picture at an angle. So the top of the Rath car was on the same level as Nelson.
Alors le photographe avait pris une photo, on voyait que le haut du char était à même niveau que cette colonne du colonel Nelson.
Then Prabhupada says the Nelson column is a very impressive statue of Lord Nelson and can be seen from a good distance.
On peut se voir.
Then Prabhupada says, just as the residents of Puri compared the Rath car to Mount Sumeru, the residents of London considered the car a rival to the Nelson Monument.
Alors de la même manière que les gens de Puri, ils ont comparé le Ratha Yatra au mont Meru, de Londres ont comparé le Ratha Yatra au monument de Nelson.
In other words, Prabhupada is blessing all the residents of London here.
Et là, Prabhupada, il note tous les résidents.
He's giving the credit to all of them.
Il a donné le crédit à tous les habitants de Londres.
Yeah, Lord Jagannath is so merciful.
Si
Ji Jagannath
Lord
Rath Yatra Ki Jai.
Jai.
So if you want to hear the real nectar,
Ah oui.
which will be, if Krishna so wills, if Lord Jagannath so wills, we'll talk about it this evening. It's the dancing of Lord Jagannath at the Rath Yatra.
Oh, Jagannath dancing himself?
Lord Chaitanya.
Lord Chaitanya. Well, Jagannath's also dancing.
Ah,
Sorry, Lord Chaitanya's dancing.
le nectar de ce
He's also
Ratha.
dancing, but we can't see it.
Donc, le nectar de ce Ratha, c'est la danse du Seigneur
And we
Chaitanya.
try to wind a little bit Shivananda saying and Srup Damodar within it.
Ah, donc on va aussi parler de Shrivananda Sai, mais de Svarupamuda. Mais ce sera ce
It'll
soir.
be 7 o'clock?
À 7 heures ce soir, donc soyez au rendez-vous.
Yeah.
Comme ça?
You can't miss out on that one. Out of this world. Chaitanya.
Donc ça vient pas de ce monde, toute cette histoire.
Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki.
Jai!
Gaur Prem and
Haribol!
I have a quick question for you. You said that the other day it's nice that if you could do a Rath Yatra in New Manipur, small one, something. You know how they do it in New Govardhan, do you think something like that? I know
That's
the
quite a
Rath
big
Yatra is
one.
big one, but you remember the Surfer's Paradise Rath Yatra, Janananda Prabhu, you know him also.
Yeah.
So we got it done for the festivals all over Australia. Something like that would be ideal.
Well, what we would, one of our, we may not see it in our lifetime, but we hope that if Krishna so wills, in the future we'll have Rath Yatras all over France.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic project. Really wants to get the mercy. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of endeavour. But yes, if we could have a small Rath car here, which could be transported all over France. I think there's only about 3 cities so far where we've had Rath Yatras, as far as I know, 3 places. The first, well, there was Paris, of course. And then there was one down the south, near Montpellier, I heard one time. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that one, but I heard that there was one on the south coast. Is that right, Lucas?
Yeah,
Where?
around the beach.
La grande botte, à côté de nous.
Near Montpellier, I heard it. No, just one time.
Yes.
And then Strasbourg, there was one in Strasbourg once or twice, I'm not sure. Anywhere else?
Yeah.
Here in New Govardhan, a small one. New rather, and in Paris. So it's an amazing festival. I mean, it was so important to Srila Prabhupada, this Rath Yatra festival. So important. He said, with the introduction of Rath Yatra in all the towns and cities of the world, along with mass book distribution, he said, we will conquer the world.
Yeah.
Say it in French.
So, il a dit que si jamais on fait assez de Ratha Yatra dans le monde, alors on conquérira le monde.
These two activities, as far as preaching are concerned and changing people's hearts.
Et c'est tellement efficace pour changer le cœur des gens.
So if you do this, you'll manage to do this, I assure you, you will get all the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya and Madhya.
Donc si le management de la nouvelle Mayapur fait ça, alors on aura tous les bénédictions du Seigneur Chaitanya et de Prabhupada.
It's a win-win-win-win-win-win, never-ending win situation.
C'est une façon de gagner constamment, éternellement. On n'aura jamais de perte.
Giving everyone a window to the spiritual world.
Et alors à la fin, on va gagner le monde spirituel.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai!
I spoke to Nitai Gaur Prabhu because I think the rush card they have, they bring it London now.
No, it's coming from Radhadesh.
Okay, oh yeah, the other year they could.
We used to bring it from London, and we even had Parashuram's cart on occasion. But because of England, the UK have left Europe, it's now extremely expensive to bring the cart over. There's all kinds of taxes and this and that. It's too expensive to bring it over. So too many complications. So we bring it from Radhadesh now, smaller cart.
Nitai Gaur Prabhu is very keen on having one made by Janananda Prabhu here. So.
Yeah, we've talked about it over many years. So it's time to start actually acting on it. And of course he's a man to also be involved, but alone he can't do it. So it takes cooperation, and maybe in the future we'll be able to do this.
Certainly we have a relationship with Jagannath because we have a huge Jagannath in a store in a warehouse over there. Huge, like 5 meters.
5
Yeah,
meters.
very big.
So we
Staying
need
here for
very good.
years.
I always thought, I mean, it's this crazy idea that Jagannath was worshipped in Paris. But I always had this idea that Jagannath could be in the church, in the extension here. And then he would go to Paris for the Rath Yatra, which is like Dwarka, and then come back here to Vrindavan every year. That was all 10, 12, 15 years ago, I was thinking.
You mean put it on the place where we arrive?
No, we don't get into the details. This is just this is on the subtle platform. I doubt whether we'll see that happen. But that's always my thought, that he goes from here, which is like Vrindavan, and he lives in what we have here, this little church, you know.
The boutique.
Yeah, but it's more big than the church.
It's very small, this little place here. You know, where the shop is right now.
The boutique.
Yeah, but the Jagannath is very big.
No, not that Jagannath, the one in Paris.
Presidente Gundicha Mandia.
The big one.
To Presidente Gundicha
10,
Mandia.
15 years ago.
Jagannath in a boutique.
You know, anyway, that's something completely revolutionary. And then he goes from Vrindavan on his Rath Yatra and comes back again to Vrindavan. Of course, he goes the other way in the Rath Yatra. He goes,
Yes.
but maybe he could come here for 2 weeks for Anavasara.
Yes.
Hey, what about that? At least that much we made. Maybe he could come here for Anavasara.
Yeah.
15 days here, because Dwarka is Paris and here.
That we did many times.
Bring him here. You did it before?
Yeah, many times.
Okay, you've already done
It
it.
was in Prabhupada's bedroom.
Okay, why don't we do it again?
This is before Rath Yatra or after?
After the Snana Yatra.
Then
Then he comes here.
Comes here and
Stays in
goes
Prabhupada's
back.
bedroom, then he goes back for the Rath Yatra.
So he's here
weeks
before
here.
the Rath Yatra.
Well, it depends when you have Snana Yatra, but you have to arrange it for 2 weeks. At least that much you've done before. It's not a new thing. It's
So
not a
Snana Yatra is
revolution.
done here, right?
Huh?
We do a festival, Snana Yatra.
Snana
festival.
Yatra's there.
In Paris. After
Then after Snana Yatra he
Jagannath
comes
coming
here.
here.
Okay.
And then
On the day of Rath Yatra we take him there. He goes straight to the chariot. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Bring it up on your next forum with the powers. Now it may be possible with the the situation as it is now. I think it's definitely possible.
I think so.
Re-establish this program.
Yeah, it's nice communication between
Yeah.
temples.
Yeah, I would put him in that church, but that's another thing.
The big church.
Where the shop is right now.
Yeah, we have to remove the shop.
Yeah, that should have been removed.
Or people will buy it.
You should never have been there in the first place.
What did they do in Mayapur with the Jagannath from close?
But we have to
What do
eat
they do?
sometime.
I don't know.
Just make like
You know.
Thank you.
He's been there, he'll know what they do.